Here is your long, emotional, YouTube-style story with a strong hook, smooth pacing, and 2 full chapters, no headings, only plain paragraphs. Starts and ends with the YouTube-style line exactly as you asked. Subscribe, like, share, comment. Nobody expected what happened that evening. 2 scared schoolgirls running down an empty street, chased by the same bullies who had tormented them for months. But what the bullies didn't know was that someone else was watching. Someone they should have never messed with. Mira, a 14-year-old girl with soft eyes and a quiet voice, always walked home with her 12-year-old sister, Aisha. Their mother worked double shifts at a nearby hospital, and their father drove trucks long distances. They fought their own battles at home, but nothing compared to what waited for them outside the school gates. 3 older boys, Zion, Hamid, and Kashif, had turned the girls into daily targets. They followed them after school, blocked their path, sometimes snatched their bags, and laughed as the girls trembled. Mira didn't fight back because she knew Aisha was too fragile, too easily frightened. Every day, Mira promised her sister, just a little longer, they'll get bored. But bullies don't get bored, they get worse. That day, Zion pushed Aisha so hard that she scraped her knee on the road. Aisha bit her lip so she wouldn't cry, not wanting to appear weak. Mira knelt beside her, furious tears burning in her eyes. "Why do you keep doing this? What did we ever do to you?" she demanded. Zion only smirked. "Because no one's here to protect you. Simple." The boys walked away laughing, leaving Mira shaking with anger and helplessness. She helped Aisha up and hugged her tight. One day, Mira whispered, "This will end. I promise." But promises can feel empty when fear becomes routine. The next afternoon, the sky glowed soft gold as they walked home. They hoped, prayed even, that maybe the bullies wouldn't be there. Maybe they had other things to do. But as soon as they turned the corner, they saw them leaning casually against the wall like predators waiting for prey. This time, the boys didn't even bother to tease, they simply started walking behind them. Slow. Deliberate. Their footsteps echoing too loudly. Mira grabbed Aisha's hand. "Don't run," she whispered, "it'll only make them chase us." But Aisha was shaking violently, her breathing fast and uneven. She had nightmares now, waking up calling Myra's name. The fear had sunk too deep. When the boys suddenly sped up, Mira panicked. "Okay, run, go." She pulled Aisha and sprinted, but the boys were faster, older. They closed the distance with ease, laughing like it was a game. But fate had other plans. From the far end of the street came a distant rumble, low, powerful, dangerous. The kind of sound that makes people turn their heads without knowing why. 3 massive motorcycles appeared, chrome glinting in the fading sun, engines growling like thunder rolling over the earth. Black leather jackets. Heavy boots. Tattoos. Helmets that covered their eyes but not their attitude. Everyone recognized them, the Road Wolves. A local biker club known for helping out the neighborhood when things went bad. No one messed with them. And they definitely didn't tolerate anyone hurting kids. The bikes slowed to a crawl as they approached Mira and Aisha, and the boys chasing them. One biker cut the engine, slid off his bike, and walked forward, tall, muscular, towering over the boys like a shadow. He looked down at them, voice calm but razor sharp. "Why are you running after these girls?" Zion stuttered something about, "just playing," but the biker shook his head. That didn't look like playing. Behind him, the 2 other bikers blocked the road with their bikes, preventing escape. Aisha hid behind Mira, trembling. The lead biker crouched down, leveling with them, his voice gentle. "You two okay? Did they hurt you?" Mira hesitated only a moment before nodding. "They do it every day." Something changed in the biker's posture. Something heavy. Serious. He stood up slowly, turning back to the boys. Every day, huh? His voice carried a quiet fury. Congratulations. Today's the last day. The bullies shrank back. Suddenly, they weren't so brave. And that was the moment everything began to shift. The next day at school, the bullies didn't show up at the gates. Nor the day after. Rumors began spreading, something about the boys being talked to, something about their parents being visited, something about the road wolves reminding everyone what community really means. But what the world didn't know was the full story. Because that night, after the bikers dropped Mira and Aisha safely home, they made a promise of their own. A promise that would change the girls' lives forever. Chapter 1 closed not with fear, but with the beginning of protection. Chapter 2 begins slowly, softly, like a sunrise after a storm. Mira and Aisha started walking to school with a little less fear. The road felt different, lighter. But trauma doesn't disappear overnight. Aisha still jumped at loud sounds. Mira still looked over her shoulder. The bullies had vanished, but their shadows lingered. One evening, Mira stood outside the small grocery store where she worked part-time. She was supposed to walk home alone. Aisha was sick, and their mother was working a night shift. The air was chilly, and the street was emptier than usual. As she stepped out with her bag, she froze. Zion and his friends were there. But they weren't smirking, weren't mocking, weren't even standing upright. Zion had bruises on his face, and Hamid's arm was in a sling. Kashif stared at the ground, unable to meet her eyes. Myra's heart pounded. She started to back up, but Zion lifted one hand weakly. Wait. She hesitated. We wanted to say sorry. Mira didn't move. Didn't speak. Zion took a slow breath, struggling. Those biker guys came to our homes. Spoke to our parents. Made them understand what we were doing. They said you two deserved better. That kids like you shouldn't cry themselves to sleep. Hamid swallowed hard. We didn't know. We thought it was just fun. We didn't think. Kashif whispered, we're done. We won't come near you again. Mira felt something unexpected, not fear. Not anger. Something like relief, mixed with disbelief. She found her voice. I hope you mean it. We do, Zion said. We're changing. They turned and left quietly, not looking back. Mira exhaled shakily and walked home faster, her heart racing, not from fear, but from the strange sensation of closure. When she reached home, she found something unexpected. The 3 road wolves bikers sitting on the steps, talking softly with Aisha. She was smiling, really smiling, for the first time in months. The lead biker stood when Mira arrived. We check in now and then. Just making sure everything's good. Myra's eyes watered. You didn't have to. He shook his head. Yeah, we did. Some kids grow up without backup. We've been there. So now we make sure nobody else feels like that. Aisha ran to Mira and hugged her tightly. They taught me how to be brave, she whispered. The bikers grinned. And from that day on, the girls were never alone again. The fear slowly faded, replaced by confidence. The road home felt safe, warm, filled with the rumble of engines that promised protection. The bullies? They became different people, quieter, humbler. People who realized too late that cruelty doesn't make you strong, kindness does. By the end of chapter 2, the real message became clear. You never know who might show up for you when you feel most alone. Sometimes, angels don't come with wings. Sometimes, they come riding motorcycles. Subscribe, like, share, comment.